when I grew up as a small boy, I thought of my hometown, Richmond, Virginia. I thought of that city as home. But then I got a little bit older, and what I realized is that what home really was for me, it was my mother. Wherever my mother was home. If we were in the laundromat, on the bus, at the grocery store, if my mother was there, I was at home. Then, I graduated high school. I went off to college, and I lived in the dorm, and I created this community of friends. And I really thought of that community of friends and that dorm as like a home I'd built for the first time myself. And that felt like so important. Then my senior year, I met a nice girl, fell in love, and oh my God, she was home. And so when we graduated, she was like, yo, I'm moving to Atlanta, Georgia. And then I knew that I needed to move to Atlanta if I didn't want to be homeless. So she moved down, and I was in Richmond getting myself together, trying to find a job in Atlanta. And she said, hey, it'll be easier to find a job in Atlanta if you live in Atlanta. And I have secured for us a place to live. I thought fantastic. I packed up the car, drove to her parents' house. We were going to have dinner there. I mean, we did have dinner there. There was laughter. There was joy. El Vino did flow. It was a good time. I was saying my goodbyes at the end of the dinner so that she and I could go to wherever it was that we lived. And then she told me that wherever it was that we lived was here with her parents. Now, you may seem, somewhat surprised. You can imagine how I felt. I did not want to live with my own parents, whom I loved. I certainly didn't want to live here. But, part of this was my fault. I did not ask clarifying questions. When she said, I have somewhere for us to live, I did not say, is it with your parents? I didn't do that. So that's on me. That's on me. So I'm sure she could see my confusion. So she pulled me to the side and she said, so look, Daddy said I can't leave home until I take a husband. Now, to some people, this may seem somewhat antiquated, but there are many people that feel this way. But I just had dinner with her father, and this just didn't seem like something the man I just met would say. So I said, your father said that? That's interesting. I don't know. She said, oh, no, not my father. She said, the bishop at the church, we call him Daddy. And in a voice that may have been an octave or two higher than I had intended, I said, you call the preacher at the church Daddy? And she said, number one, he's a bishop. And number two, wait till you meet him. You're going to love him. I met him. I didn't love him. And to say that I met him is too strong. I saw him. I went to the church. He was surrounded by a phalanx of security guards, which made the whole no weapon formed against me can prosper thing make perfect sense. He was a black man. He was of average height. He had a jerry curl or a texturizer, whatever it was. It was not of God. He had on the snuggest black leather pants I've ever seen. There was a cow somewhere in heaven mooing that I did not die for this. And then he had on a muscle shirt with a herringbone necklace. And I said to myself, I said to her, I said, this is your daddy? She said, yeah, he's an amazing preacher. Wait until you hear him preach. You're going to love it. I heard him preach. I didn't love it. As it would so happen, I guess the Sunday before I went, he had told the congregation, when you come the following Sunday, bring your tithes and offerings in cash and lay them on the steps that lead up to the pulpit. So that's what they did. So then he came out. He looked at the steps, and then he explained to the congregation there was not enough money to justify him preaching this sermon. So he directed the choir while the people put more money on the steps. He looked back, told them still not enough. There was another rush, more money. Then he preached this sermon, a sermon that I may have mentioned I did not love. And these antics went on and on week after week. And in the meantime, I'd gotten a job as an accountant. I'd been there for like a month or two. I'd gotten promoted because I was always at work. And I was always at work because her parents were delightful people, but their house didn't feel like home. And this relationship with their daughter, it didn't feel like home anymore either. So one day, she informed me that Daddy, the bishop, had told her that she needed to marry Jesus, like literally marry Jesus. There would be a ceremony. She would get a ring to wear on the ring finger of her right hand. And I asked her, I said, is Jesus going to be attending this ceremony? This seems incredible. Then she told me that Daddy told her that she would not be led to be with a man that was not going to attend this church. So I told her three things. The first thing was I congratulated her on her upcoming nuptials. I told her I'm sure Jesus is going to be an amazing listener. And at the reception, the wine will flow freely and there will be endless breadsticks. The second thing I told her was that I was not going to be attending that church. I was leather trousered and herringbone necklaced out. I could not do any more of that. And the third thing that I let her know was that, I wasn't sure if she knew. So I let the cat out of the bag. I said, you're in a bit of a cult. You're in a bit of a cult. And listen, I've got a new job. I don't have time for a cult right now. I'm busy. So I'm not going to be able to join you in this cult. So a couple of weeks later, she got married to Jesus. And on their honeymoon night, I moved out because that seemed appropriate. And I moved into a small apartment in Decatur, Georgia. And all I had a sleeping bag, I had a lawn chair, I had a chest, and I had a television. But I felt so at home. And that's when I realized that home, it was not my hometown, it was not my mother, it was not my dorm, and it was not my relationship. That home was me. Thank you for listening to that story.